Oi, pessoal, bem-vindos de volta. Obrigado mais uma vez por estarem acompanhando nossa ELT Week Brasil 2024. Eu me chamo Ramon Santos, sou analista de projetos do British Council. Eu sou um homem branco, de barba e cabelos escuros. Eu estou usando uma camisa roxa com gola e ao fundo, meu fundo está embaçado, então só é possível ver tudo branco. E para continuarmos o nosso dia, que é focado em tecnologia e inteligência artificial, nós vamos ingressar no tema Tech Empower, Transforming Teacher Communities Through Networking and Digital Collaboration. E para isso, para explorar esse tema, eu gostaria de convidar a Mariela Mondaca, que possui mais de 23 anos de experiência no ensino e desenvolvimento de cursos de línguas estrangeiras. Ela também possui bacharelado em educação e ensino de inglês como língua estrangeira, além de ser certificada em TESOL e TEFL. Atualmente, trabalha como tutora de línguas e fonologia para professores de inglês como língua estrangeira e alunos avançados de inglês e espanhol. Convido a todos a comentarem no chat, deixarem suas perguntas, para que ao final eu esteja junto com a professora para responder a essas perguntas. Tenham todos uma boa sessão, seja bem-vinda, professora.
Hello, and welcome to this presentation. My name is Mariela Mondaca. Thanks for being here. And this is Tech Empower, transforming teacher communities through networking and digital collaboration. I became interested in building communities for teachers some time ago when I saw there was a need for this, especially among teachers of English whose first language is not English. But let me illustrate this better with a concrete example. This is a screenshot from an informal poll that I carried out last year during an event with teachers of English, with qualified teachers of English, whose first language was not English. And look at some of the responses that they gave when I asked them, how do you feel when speaking English in front of others? Remember that these were qualified teachers of English. Every time that I speak in front of others, I think I don't know the correct expressions, vocabulary, and grammar. Sometimes I feel nervous. Sometimes I feel I run out of, quote, nice words. I feel exposed to everyone's judgment. I'm always afraid of making many language mistakes. Quite insecure. I'm afraid of making grammar mistakes or mispronouncing words. Sometimes I feel insecure, and that's why I want to practice and become a member of a community. Embarrassed. It depends on who they are, that is the audience, right? And anxious. So to me, this clearly shows how much we could benefit from joining supportive communities for teachers of English in order to develop or continue developing our language, especially teachers of English whose first language is not English. Some key concepts that we'll be dealing with today. When we talk about teacher development, we need to bear in mind the idea of language development as well. It's a continuous process. And in this, we need to acknowledge the central role of technology. And of course, it's important to promote collaboration among teachers, resilience, and the building of supportive communities. Let me share with you some brief insights on social constructivism. You know, many of you must be acquainted with this, the theory proposed by Vygotsky, and the role of social constructivism in teachers' language development. You know that according to Vygotsky, we need an environment, a cultural environment, in order to learn, because learning is a social process. So, what is ZPD? Well, when teachers interact with each other, scaffolding each other's learning, they can gain deeper understanding and deeper connections. And this is because they are interacting within their zone of proximal development, or ZPD. This is, of course, connected to building communities of practice where teachers can join and have common goals and objectives. Of course, social interaction is key in all this. We talk about experiential learning when teachers experiment with the language, not just when they are talking about the language or about teaching, but when they are doing things with it. The same thing that we talk about, the same way, we talk about experiential learning about our students. And connected to that, we are really used to talking about personalized growth and personalized learning experiences when it comes to our students. We try to encourage them to look for their personal aims and objectives when learning. But what about our own learning experiences, our own language development? We can also find areas for improvement. As teachers, we usually engage in self-directed learning when we enroll in courses that we like, that are about topics that we are interested in congresses, for example, or even informal learning. And as regards reflective practices, we do this all the time. We usually reflect on our own teaching, evaluating strategies, assessing and reassessing how well they work, and adequating our practices accordingly. Well, the same kind of process can take place or can be carried out regarding our own language experiences, language learning processes. The good news is that these past few years have brought about endless opportunities for teachers. And let me be a bit auto-referential here. For about 24 years of my career, most of my use of English has been confined to the four walls of classrooms. Of course, every now and then, I would attend a workshop, a professional development session, or I would even enroll in some formal learning courses. But in the last 3 years, we have been positively bombarded by an array of webinars. We have been able to participate in local and international online congresses. We can attend professional development sessions almost every day. We can join special interest groups, even if we are not based in a big city. We can join international voluntary work groups, play groups online, and being auto-referential again, I can tell you that I was even able to meet an accountability partner for a course that we were doing, and she's based on a totally different continent, but we communicate almost on a daily basis. We share ideas, we exchange resources, and these are some of the possibilities that these new times have for us. So it is inevitable when we talk about these new times to mention the 2020 pandemic and the changes it brought about. You know, some teachers after the pandemic decided to go back to their classroom and forget everything about those times when we had to teach purely online. But some others took this as an opportunity, as a springboard to new opportunities. And this brings us to the idea of resilience. And you know, resilience, according to the Cambridge Dictionary Online, is the quality of being able to return quickly to a previous good condition after a problem. So this definition comes from the field of physics, but of course this can be applied perfectly to the teaching context that we share. And resilience has different aspects. One of them is the cultural aspects. We can talk about cultural resilience. Teachers need to encourage students to explore the world, to understand the world and to understand others, and to respect others. So, of course, this can be done much better if we do these things ourselves. This is closely connected to the idea of connection. So, teachers are expected to promote a more tolerant and interconnected world. So, again, this is better done, better carried out if we connect with others ourselves. As regards the aspect of technology, teachers usually help students navigate different technological media for language acquisition. It's not necessary for teachers to be experts at that media, but it's good to have different experiences in navigating these problems themselves. And finally, evolution. Teachers assist students, ensuring they thrive in an ever-evolving society, in an ever-changing world. So these are some of the reasons why we need to build resilience. So let me share a personal story here, a personal experience again. This is a screenshot that I wanted to share with you from a course, a language development course that I led last year with qualified teachers of English. These teachers were feeling, in a similar way to the second slide that I showed you. Remember that they said that they were not confident when speaking in front of others. Well, after working together with some time and working especially on building this sense of belonging to a group, to a community, they were able to have very interesting exchanges and their confidence grew enormously. And why is this? Well, of course, there were situations in which we had to focus on improvement and tackle areas of difficulty and areas to improve. But the main focus was always set on trying to give positive feedback and trying to support each other while praising progress. So look at the beautiful interactions that they had toward the end. And this was clearly reflected in the confidence that they showed toward the end of the course. So this brings us to the importance of creating judgment-free environments where we, as teachers of English, whose first language is not English, can interact without being judged for our still developing language. Encouraging collaborative learning, providing constructive feedback, celebrating small wins, promoting open dialogue, and organizing language exchanges. Now, what's the role of social media in all this? Well, we can use social media for our professional growth. I'm sure you know about this, especially if you're acquainted with LinkedIn, for example. You know that this is a network that is used to create professional connections, professional networks. There is a very new feature that is the new collaborative articles that are, some may argue that they are not good quality articles. I've heard those comments, but we have to admit that they can lead to very interesting professional conversations on different topics, and they are an excellent opportunity for writing practice. Then we have the good old Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, and WhatsApp groups, especially if we take into account the community's features that each one of these social media has. They enable us to share learning experiences through quizzes, questions, polls, and so on. And finally, if some of you are feeling a bit shy, remember that there's always the opportunity, the possibility of using YouTube private channels, especially to share group work or individual production for feedback and collaboration in reduced groups. Now, I brought a list for you, a list of communities, which is by no means extensive, but it only reflects my personal interests. These are communities that I have tested myself, and I have participated in myself in the past. But they are just a good example of the variety that you may find out there. One of them is Teachers for Ukraine, the Teachers for Ukraine initiative. This is a network of volunteer work that encourages cross-cultural learning, promotes cross-cultural learning, and online language exchanges, both between teachers and refugees, and also speakers of English in general and refugees. Then there's the Hands Up Project, another network of volunteer work that connects English teachers, in this case, with teachers and students in Palestine. This one is unfortunately on hold at the moment because of the current political situation in the area, in the region. And it promotes virtual exchanges. Then I have also participated in the Global Play Brigade. I can say that I am a proud brigadier there. And this organization tries to promote mental health around the world through cross-cultural understanding and community building. And English is used as a means in order to play and not an end. So this is a great opportunity to practice in a relaxed environment. And finally, the World Storytelling Cafe, especially if you're interested in stories. This is excellent for sharing and listening to stories, and it highlights the cultural richness of our world. So, in conclusion, it would be good for us to remember that professional development is not just about teaching, especially when we're talking about teachers of English whose first language is not English. It also has to do with developing our language and continuing developing our language. And this is much better done if we can join supportive communities of our interest, any kind of community where we can continue exploring and experimenting with the language. We can continue participating, using the language, putting it into practice. And remember, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thank you very much for listening.
Was another timely and necessary session. So thank you once again to the audience for engaging through comments. Again, this is the moment for you to add your comments and make your questions. I am here with teacher Mariela. So it is a pleasure to have you here, Mariela. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramon. Thank you, everybody. Hello again.
Hello. So first, I'd like to start reading a personal testimony that we have received here on the chat, and I'd ask you to comment, please. So, one of my weaknesses is networking. While I am watching the live, I wonder about the one thing. How could I more easily increase my networking in a non-extroverted way?
Good. That's a very interesting question. And well, most of the teachers I talked about have felt this way. They felt shy at the beginning. So I think that a good way would be to start writing, networking by writing, chatting with other teachers in the same situation, or joining communities and maybe just reading at the beginning. So that you find out that there are others who feel the same. We need to make this issue visible. because we are here and we are non-native teachers of English, and our language will continue developing throughout our lives, the same way our native language continues developing. It's never a finishing line. There is never a finishing line.
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Another one is, what are some best practice for ensuring that online teacher networks remain active and engaging over time?
Yeah, I think that social networks are an excellent way to start networking these days. There are different groups. Well, I'm trying to build my own community of like-minded teachers on Instagram, for example. Nowadays, I communicate mostly on Instagram and also through a mailing list. But I know that there are many other teachers who have started, even in Brazil as well, there are teachers who have started similar initiatives. So there are different groups out there. We just need to explore them.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Thank you. And another one is, how can us teachers effectively balance digital collaboration with traditional in-person collaboration within our communities?
Well, that is another interesting question that I have received in the past, because I know that connectivity is not the same everywhere. So if you are lucky enough to have supportive groups, or to find supportive groups in your in-person communities, like at school, for example, or in your cities, that's another possibility. Why not? In the area where I live, for example, there's a WhatsApp group where we share job positions that are opened, and also material from time to time, ideas. So, and it's just a WhatsApp group. So the possibilities are endless.
Yes, perfect. And we are receiving lots of comments, lots of compliments here on the chat. So unfortunately, we do not have much time. But before we finish, I'd like to ask you to share your social medias, your Instagram, maybe LinkedIn, so people in the future can reach out to you after this.
Yes, the main social media that I'm using these days is Profe Mariel. So I'm going to write that in the chat box, and that's on Instagram. So, and you can also find me as Mariela Mondaca on LinkedIn.
Yes, perfect. So thank you so much, Mariela. It was a pleasure to have you with us, and I hope to see you in future opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And for the others, thank you for watching us. Thank you for having us. And we have more sessions today. We'll be back 11:30. So see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.